It's now time to rank all the episodes from season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead. Now, we could rank them. We could sum this video up in 10 seconds and go, all 6 episodes were garbage. But no, we're not going to do that. We're actually going to give the show the benefit of the doubt. We did watch the entire first season. I wouldn't say we were impressed. Some episodes definitely sucked more than others, so we have actually reviewed all 6 and we have put them in order from worst to best. But overall, as a season, first season of a show, didn't get me very excited.
No, it wasn't very good. It was a very lackluster version of The Walking Dead with no characters that stood out, and to this day did not go anywhere, and it was just the most generic zombie apocalypse I've got from it.
And arguably the best character of the season, didn't even debut till like 2 episodes from the end.
Exactly so.
Now, does that mean the last 2 episodes were the best episodes? We'll have to wait and find out. But we are going to kick off with last place in this list, and we are giving it to episode 4.
Not Fade Away.
Not Fade Away. Well, I'll tell you what, I think the show did fade away in this episode. Episode 4 is like literally the beginning of like civilization trying to regroup, I guess. The army come in and like they set up safe camps. Everyone moves back into their homes, and it's almost like they're trying to get life back to normal. There's like no infected in this episode, and it's like it's the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, right? The first 3 episodes tries to get you intrigued. It shows you the beginning, and then in episode 4 it's like an abrupt halt. Do you know what I mean? This would be like, could you imagine in imagine in the actual Walking Dead, it's like, Rick and the gang, end of episode 3, they're going back for Meryl on the rooftop, and they get there, and instead of seeing Meryl's hand, they open the door, and it's like the army, and then the army take Rick back to his house with his wife and family, and
it's alright, Rick.
And Shane's staying with him, and they're like, oh, well, this is awkward. I mean, and they're trying to, we're trying to get back to normal. I mean, no, garbage, man. For me, this didn't work. Not in episode 4. I think if you're doing something like this, it has to be even earlier, like. And it was just boring.
And there was a 9-day time skip.
Yeah, a 9-day time skip as well. So like basically nothing in those 9 days. Nothing happened in those 9 days.
And the worst thing about this episode is bloody Nick stealing morphine for a guy that's ill.
Yeah, not a lot happens.
Into his toes.
I mean, the episode ends with Nick and Ophelia's mum getting taken away. Griselda. But I mean, that was literally it. This episode was basically everybody else going back to normal, sitting in their house, waiting on the doctors to come and look at them. There was some guy that was depressed, that was a neighbour of...
Doug, his name was?
Yeah, Doug, and he had a bit of a story arc in this. Just a really poor episode. I believe we rated it 2 out of 10.
We did.
It wasn't good. Easily the worst episode of this season, and... If you combine both Walking Deads, like it's definitely by far the worst episode of both season 1s combined.
Oh, easily.
Really, really, really poor.
Not many The Walking Dead episodes would get into the bottom 6, would they?
Yeah. Now, what I will say is, I think the next, I was going to say top 5, but that sounds like I'm putting them over. I think the rest of the episodes are a lot better than 4.
Doesn't make them great.
No, it doesn't make them great, but I mean, I do think that the next 5 are, a step above 4. 4 was really, really bad.
It was, but 5 was Cobalt.
Also, not episode 5 of the season.
It was.
Yep. My 5 in our list.
That's alright. I thought you said it wasn't. But anyway, basically Cobalt, the whole meaning of this episode was, in the morning, all the civilians are going to be killed. What do we get in this episode? We essentially get the only soldier that's been put over in any sort of fashion. Moyers gets killed very weakly. Travis says, I don't want to pull the trigger, I don't like guns, so he refuses to pull the trigger.
Are they getting killed, or is the army just evacuating?
Well, it says here on Wikipedia they are getting killed. They were going to just leave them all.
It's not the same as killing them, is it?
I guess it's not, but my problem with this episode is Moyers goes into the army goes into a building and like 2 of them come out.
Yeah, it's like, so like the top man, I'm not saying he's like the top overall man, but the man who's like being in charge of this so-called like jurisdiction, or whatever they call it, this area, he's like taking Travis to like the not the what do you call it? Not a detention center, but he's taking them to the place where they're keeping all the sick and all that, where the army's camp is, the safe zone or whatever. And then they get a message on the way there, and Moyers goes in to basically investigate a building. The whole team go in, and like 2 people come fucking out. And then one of the army guys, I forget his name, it was like the Mexican guy, Hispanic guy. He turns around and he says to Travis, "Yeah, Moyers won't be coming." So it's like being killed off Moyers very cheaply here. Just again, it wasn't really great. We had Daniel torturing one of the army guys to try and get information out of him. It was better than episode 4.
We had Griselda dying. The whole story arc. Lisa helping people at the safe zone. The sick. Again, it just sucked, didn't it? Like literally, you got about 15 minutes of this. Who cares?
I mean, it wasn't great. It was better than episode 4, but again, that really isn't saying much.
Like, it set up the finale where Daniel's like, "Oh, there's 2,000 soldiers, no infected in there," because Adams revealed that to me after I tortured them. But again, it was like, it was better. It was way better than 4, but that's only because 4 was bad.
Yeah.
With this episode, it did a decent job to build into a finale. It left you on a bit of a cliffhanger, but again, 2 characters died in this, and the deaths just did not feel meaningful whatsoever.
I would say episode 4 and 5 of Fear the Walking Dead's kind of similar to The Walking Dead's episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Where they just weren't really that good, if we're
But
being
like, see
completely honest.
Griselda, right? They did not develop her in any sort of fashion. Would her death not have meant a bit more if Daniel and the daughter were there in the flesh when it happened, rather than they find out like 2 episodes later?
Don't think Daniel would have been happy with someone, impaling his wife with a cow prod or whatever, cattle prod. But, whatever. Episode 5 comes in at number 5. We now move on to number 4 on our list, and it is
The Dog.
episode 3, The Dog. If you want to see some good dog impressions, you can check out our review of this episode.
Check out the short. Plug the short.
So, I mean, this episode, basically, we start in Daniel's hairdresser
Barbershop.
saloon, whatever it is. They escape with Travis and, his son and his ex-wife. And his wife gets hurt. Meanwhile, back at Travis's home, Madison is sitting playing bloody board games.
Like, a dog shows up.
Dog shows up. They let the dog in to presumably save the dog, and then they leave the house and leave the dog in the house, and a zombie comes in and eats the dog. Then Travis gets back, tries to negotiate with the zombie, even though by this stage we know these things can't be negotiated with. We've seen the fact that, they don't listen, but we do this stupid thing where we try and negotiate anyway. Daniel saves him, shoots the zombie with a shotgun, then gives the gun to... I can't remember who he gave the gun to, but it's like, obviously Daniel is the only guy here good with a weapon. He should probably hold on to it. We had Alicia go into next door neighbour's house to try and get something. Again, pretty cheap if you ask me. They wait out that night. They're going to leave in the morning. They decide to leave. Daniel's going to stay behind in the house with his family. And then at the very end of the episode...
The National Guard arrive.
Yeah, we get the National Guard arriving.
Too late, they say.
And-
I seen this in El Salvador.
Yeah, and
Not good.
I just, I don't get it.
And
Daniel-
again, like, see his wife's injury. So
Yeah.
she gets injured in this episode, right? And yet, we get a 9-day time skip, and then she dies, 10 days later after the injury? Fuck, more than that? Because it happens in episode 5 where she dies. Like, how stupid's that storyline?
Yeah.
Like, an infected leg, like, I mean, if it's really that bad, you're not going to last 2 weeks without any sort of medicine.
Yep.
Meaningful penicillin. But yeah, again, that was stupid. And the whole dog thing. And then they actually went to a different house to be safe because there was someone at their windies.
Yeah, just...
Ridiculous. But that brings us to ranking number 3 on this list. And it is, drumroll please,
It is the premiere
of the show. And of course, it is just called Pilot because that's what they just call every episode that is episode 1. And it did draw 10.13 million viewers.
the highest rated episode of Fear the Walking Dead. You know what? This is a sign of a show that isn't very good. If a show's debut episode is the highest rated, then that... Good shows always increase in popularity. Breaking Bad increased Sons of Anarchy increased. The Walking Dog, The Walking Dead
I'll walk the dog.
did increase until it got to a level, where it started being garbage, and then it just completely fell off. Let's talk about some shows that have, started off and then basically, the ratings have, went out the window. Those shows are
The Mayans.
the Mayans. Obviously, people tuned in because of Sons of Anarchy. They tuned into the Mayans. They didn't like it. Fear the Walking Dead, prime example. This came out during season 5 of The Walking Dead, which was, I believe, was it season 5 or season 6 highest rated? Both of those seasons were very high rated, the 2 highest rated seasons overall in the show's history. So that's when The Walking Dead, reputation and all the hype about The Walking Dead was in its peak. So Fear coming out at that time was the peak time that Fear could have came out in. There's no excuses. It's not like they brought out Fear when The Walking Dead was dying. The Walking Dead, from a rating standpoint, was thriving. They brought out Fear. They got 10 millions in the premiere. And then, after that, it just dipped and dipped and dipped. I believe also House of the Dragon. I think that started off with a very strong rating. People tuning in, Game of Thrones fans, they tune in, they expect it to be as good as the original. It isn't, and then it loses ratings. So, again, man, if a show starts off with a high rating, even the Mayans rating wasn't even that high, so it's not even a matter of you can't maintain the high rating. It's just more of a matter the show sucks.
No, they do, but do you think with these shows, cause of ties to the other show, is a wee bit, you can be a bit more lenient on them, because they're just never going to be as good as like the OG, therefore it is automatically going to lose viewers. I don't see a world personally where Fear, especially Fear, could draw to a similar level of The Walking Dead on its own. Look at the cast. The cast alone just that proved to me.
Yeah, but I just don't think there's any excuse for the drop-off, really. Even by the time you got to the finale, there was barely an increase in the finale from the previous 2 episodes. And normally the finales always get a spike. So, again, I think you could tell by season 1, it was the show wasn't being enjoyed. It was a failure. I mean, they lost 4 million. I mean, look at Breaking Bad. By the time Breaking Bad got into part 2 of season 5, it was by far getting the best ratings it had ever seen. That's because people wanted to see what happened at the end of Breaking Bad. Look at where we are with Fear. Going into season 8. I mean, you can't even get 1 million viewers.
Yeah,
no one's left watching.
Yeah,
sure,
a 10 for your audiences went for the pilot.
Yep, so again.
But then again, that happened to The Walking Dead, so understandable. But in this episode, it's just a generic opener. Nick's on drugs, doesn't really know if what he's seen was reality or was it the hallucinations.
Yeah, he sees his girlfriend like chewing on someone, so he runs out the building, gets hit by a car, then we get introduced to all the characters. They basically go and visit Nick inside hospital. We get introduced to Madison. We do not like Madison. Nick then goes and he's speaking with his dealer. His dealer's pissed off. His dealer's I think he's like a high school. I think his dealer's like a high school football player or something like that. So again, they're trying to portray fucking football players as bad. Surprised they made him black, but he ends up getting this guy's going to basically kill off Nick, but Nick fights back and grabs the gun, accidentally shoots him, and up to this point, Nick has been He thinks what he saw, he thinks he's seen Gloria, his girlfriend, eating people, but no one's really believed him. And then when this guy dies, he goes to tell Travis and his mom, come back, the guy's not there. This basically confirms that, look, there is zombies, there is dead people walking about. And then basically the kind of episode ends when they just kind of mow this guy over in the car.
Yeah, and Calvin's just still turning his head. Oh no.
So,
what's going on?
I mean, yeah, not a lot happening here. We did get introduced to the characters. We got Nick in hospital.
It's sad that this drew more on the Walking Dead pilot, innit?
Yeah. Again, this got 10 million off the hype of The Walking Dead. I agree. You can use ratings to ratings are an example, of how good a show is, but they're not the be all and end all. You can't just say, well, this episode got more ratings than this one, so therefore it's better. It's not exactly how it works. You got to look at the rating in context. The context is, right, The Walking Dead, when season 1 started, It was just a comic book. Most people don't read comic books, right? Most people didn't have a clue about The Walking Dead.
Most
Now,
people leave the house.
Yeah, now they tune in maybe because they like zombies and it's a zombie TV series. But by the, you know what I mean? By the time this came out, season 5 had finished of The Walking Dead, and literally look at the hype behind The Walking Dead. Everyone was watching The Walking Dead, so of course this premiere was going to get more views than the original Walking Dead. That's just my opinion. If you want to be wrong and disagree with it, then feel free to go ahead and do
So
that.
the other opinion's wrong then?
Well,
Of course it's wrong, guys. That brings
well, if
us...
it's not mine, it's wrong.
That's pretty much
No
it.
offense, guys. Now we move into number 2, and we go with episode 2, which is
So close, yet so far.
So far, this. I feel like this episode you got a bit more action. Like, well, obviously, you know, they didn't want. I guess they didn't want to rush the outbreak, so we didn't really get that much zombie stuff in the first pilot. To be fair, we didn't really get that much in this one either. But you begin to see riots. You know,
schools are not really full at this point. They're about 10th.
people are keeping their kids home, which is fine. We get Madison going to school to try and get drugs from Nick. She then has to kill an infected teacher. She meets a kid that, let's be honest,
Tobias.
He was pretty cool, but at the same time he looked like a fucking nerd. But no, he actually seemed to know what he was doing. But we never really get introduced to him again. He was just like a one-off character, I guess, for this episode. We see Travis's son, whose name escapes me right now.
Nick.
Yeah, but yeah, anyway.
No, not Nick. Chris.
Chris, he's out in the city and he sees the riots. People are rioting because they believe that the police have executed somebody, but in reality, well, they have executed somebody, and I guess the police don't really know that this somebody was a zombie, but you know that's what people are like rioting over, and we're supposed to believe that there's zombies in the streets while people are rioting, but the rioting is like kind of camouflaging the zombies, so to speak. Then Travis and his son and his ex-wife take refuge in this like barber shop, and then we get introduced to Daniel and his family, and yeah, the episode just basically ends with them inside the barber shop looking out. So
I know, against these episodes, seeing you describe them, it's like they really aren't good.
no, I mean, not really. I feel like I do feel like the premiere of episode 1 of The Walking Dead is a really good episode, and it ends, I think, really good as well. You've got Rick, you know, trapped in the tank. He's surrounded by zombies. He's just had to, you know, kill that zombie in the tank, and then, you know, you get the radio, and it's like, hey, dumbass, and you get introduced to a new survivor, and there's hope, there's other people, there's civilization. I feel like when you watch episode 1, that's a really good cliffhanger to get you to tune into episode 2.
Yeah, but with this, it's like, this is nothing.
But with this, I mean, literally, all right, there's rioting on outside, and they're locked in, they're hiding inside of barbers, you know.
Like, see, with TV shows, you talk about like iconic moments and quotes. What is in this?
Well, I mean, by the sound of us, we're saying this episode was shit, but we have it ranked number 2, so maybe that says more about
No,
the
but like,
season.
see from season 1, what would you say is iconic about it?
Oh, there's nothing iconic.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even say there's anything great in this season. I mean, was there a couple of good things? I mean, possibly. Like I did like Strand. You know, I thought Strand was an okay character. Apart from that, though, I mean, where's the good moments? You know, like I can't think of any. I really can't. And that's not me trying to purposely bury the show. I legit can't think of like one good standout moment. If I was doing a top 10 moments of season 1, I mean, I'd be struggling. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I know. Actually, I know I wouldn't.
But speaking of, where will we start?
The good man.
Let's talk about number 1 on this list. It is the finale. It is the good man. And I just want to say though, I don't think this was number 1 by much. I think 6, 2, and 1. You know, I don't think there was much in between them. But
it's a poor finale, but it's the best episode of the series.
Yeah, I just think we were starved of action in the first 5 episodes, and then in comparison, you get about 10 times the amount of action in this episode as you do the entire rest of the season. They basically go on a rescue mission to try and get Nick back. Strand gets brought into the group. Andy resurfaces and ends up shooting Ophelia after he was being captured by Daniel. Then Travis, I felt Travis like beating this guy to a pulp. To me, that was a bit forced and unnecessary. I mean, if he shot his son, I could maybe understand. Even then, he shot her in the arm. Like I just didn't understand why Travis was, especially after he just seen that this guy had been tortured. For me, it was like an arm for an arm, so to speak.
And he's the one that agreed to let him go. He was sympathetic with the guy.
Unless maybe he feels guilty. He thinks that, if he'd have listened to Daniel's daughter wouldn't have got shot. But, like, I don't know. I mean, to me, it just didn't really...
It was so out of character and stupid.
And then you've got Daniel, who's this El Salvador badass bitch or whatever he thinks he is.
Like, to me, it would have made more sense if Chris did it. Because you see he's a bit unhinged.
Chris is a kid.
I know he's a kid, that's what I'm saying, but I mean...
Or if Daniel done it, the actual fucking dad, the guy that was torturing him. And I don't even... Yeah,
But to me, Chris would be more believable than... What's his name?
Travis.
Forgetting the main man's name.
We also get the 2,000 walkers from the stadium. So, yeah, we had a lot of walkers. I'm sure Trev's Chan thinks this episode's the best, just purely based on the fact there was 2,000 background walkers, but... I mean, whatever, 2,000 walkers, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Unless
zombies, man!
I mean, unless the zombies are actually doing something, then... Like, see, like, the zombies being in the barn was good because it created a problem, it was a dilemma for the group. It's not just because, oh, look, there's a load of zombies in the barn. Like, let's be real, like, if there's zombies locked in the stadium, it doesn't really matter. You're not fucking living next door to the stadium. This didn't really add much in my opinion.
Exactly, but that's it.
Then they go to we go to Strand's house and he mentions there's a boat. So we think it's going to be happy ever after for the group. But it reveals that Lisa.
Lisa,
Travis's ex-wife and Chris's mother has been bitten. She was bit as they tried to fight their way through the kitchen in the military compound as they tried to escape. She basically says to Travis, or Madison, you need to put me down. She says to Madison, don't let Travis do it, I will kill him. But then 2 minutes later, Travis does it anyway. Travis thinks, though, that he doesn't need to do it because they've got medicine, they've got paracetamol, we've got penicillin.
We've got cowpaw.
We've got bandages, we're going to be okay.
We've got water.
Lisa...
We've got a black man called Strand.
Lisa explains that that's not quite how this works and that, those medicines don't do shit to prevent you from dying, and coming back as one of them. Travis kills her, and that's basically, guys, the end of the episode. It was okay. I think we rated the finale a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes average for the season was 6.75 out of 10.
I think if you take out episode 4, I don't think our average would be that far behind. I reckon our average, if you take out episodes, I think we give like a couple of 5 and a couple. I think we give 3 6s and a 5s, and then obviously episode 4 we gave like a 2.
I would give it a 5 out of 10.
So yeah, I mean, I think a 5 out of 10 is fair, or 5.5. I couldn't give the season any more than a 6.
No,
because anything more than a 6 is like good.
This is
and
average.
This just wasn't good. It was like decent at best. If you're a zombie fan, you're probably happy. If you're not really into zombies, then I don't think this show does much for you. Anyway, guys, that is our list. In order from worst to best, we went with 4, 5, 3, 1, 2, and 6. Let us know what you think down below. Now, we're going to have more Season 1 rankings coming. We're going to be ranking the characters, all the important characters, so I don't think it'll be every character that was on screen, but it's basically going to be characters that got screen time, so that will be including characters that maybe only lasted for an episode, such as Tobias, or the American high school, or Alicia's boyfriend, but we'll include people like him. But
his name, that guy's name.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to go as far as including like the next door neighbor. What's that guy called? Wang?
Aye, Dr. Wang.
Dr. Wang. I mean, literally.
Tell you what, though, there's not many deaths you can rank here.
Yeah, we might, if we can come up with enough deaths, then they will do a video ranking the deaths, and that's probably it. So yeah, guys, that's it. We will be beginning to review Season 2 pretty soon over the next couple of days, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Unfortunately, though, the views for these vids are kind of similar to the ratings for Season 7. Absolutely fucking shite. So if you could start watching the content, we would appreciate it. If anybody's still watching by this part, then God bloody help you. But that's it. Till next time.
God bless America.
God bless. Fear the Walking Dead.